My name is Elisabeth Lauffer, and I'm a German to English translator. Today I'm going to be reading from Beyond the Blue Border by Dorit Linke, which was published on September 7th, just in time for World Kidlit Month. This book tells the story of Hanna and Andreas, teenagers and best friends who grew up in East Germany, the communist state, and make the very difficult decision to try to flee the country by swimming through the Baltic Sea from their hometown of Rostock in northern Germany to the west, to Denmark. And it's an amazing story. This is one of my favorite books that I've translated. And in the section that I'm going to read from today, we see both Hanna and Andreas in the water as they're making this extremely dangerous, extremely exhausting, physically demanding attempted escape, and then also a flashback to their life as normal teenagers living in the German Democratic Republic, this eastern state. So just a couple of notes. While they're swimming, they have tied themselves together with a string so that they don't lose each other because it's the middle of the night while they're just after they've departed the German coast. And in the flashback section, they're with their friend Saxony Jensi, who's one of their best friends and who is from the East German state of Saxony, hence his nickname. I'm going to start with a brief reading from the German to give you a sense of what the original language sounds like, and then I'll move to the translated. Ein Brummen, lauter werdend. Ich ziehe an der Schnur. Andreas hört auf zu schwimmen, wendet sich mir zu. Die Wellen schaukeln uns gegeneinander. Er stemmt seine Hand gegen meine Schulter, um Abstand zu halten. Um uns ist es dunkel, wir sehen gar nichts. Anschwellendes Motorengeräusch. Ein Boot, sagt Andreas, das ohne Licht umherfährt. Sie suchen uns, haben vielleicht schon unsere Klamotten gefunden. Ich packe Andreas am Arm. Die können uns nicht sehen. Wir müssen nur ruhig bleiben. Und was machen wir jetzt? Nichts. Wir bleiben ruhig. Wenn das Licht kommt, tauchen wir ab. Und wenn die wild um sich schießen? Quatsch. Wir sind doch nicht im wilden Westen. Woher willst du das wissen? Ich weiß es nicht. We hear rumbling, growing louder. I pull on the string. Andreas stops swimming and turns to face me. The waves pitch us toward each other. He braces his hand against my shoulder to provide a buffer. Everything is dark and we can't see a thing. Swelling engine noise. A boat, Andreas says. One driving around without lights. They're searching for us, maybe even found our clothes already. I grab Andreas's arm. They can't see us. We just have to keep quiet. So what do we do now? Nothing. We keep quiet. If a light appears, we dive down. And if they start spraying bullets? Come off it. This isn't the Wild West. How would you know? I don't. The engine noise gets louder. Still no light. It's unclear where the sound is coming from. I turn in the water, listening, but the sound comes from all sides. What do we do? At any moment, their spotlight could find us, then we're done for. At this range, they really could catch us. I dive, and the sound is much louder, but even underwater, I can't locate the source. It's coming from all directions. I swim back up. They must be really close. I lie rigidly in the water, not moving. Andreas grasps my shoulder. Oh, shit. I also feel something big approaching. They're going to run us over. Engine noise envelops me. I hold my breath. Suddenly, the sound changes. It isn't any quieter, but it seems less threatening. Its frequency changes. The boat is moving away. Christ, they drove right past us. Andreas coughs and spits out water. A huge wave slams me in the face, steals my breath, then another follows. I turn away until the waves recede. We ride the swell up and down as the engine noise fades. What a scene. They are absolutely batshit. He coughs again. I gotta take 5. He lies on his back and doesn't say another word. I have stomach cramps from swallowing seawater and from the fear. Grandpa's stories. Would be nice if you'd spared me some of them, especially the ones about commando frogmen. Stationed at Krolingsborn, more than 100 strong. They jump out of boats or helicopters and swim for kilometers, even in winter. They train in the Baltic Sea, sometimes swimming all the way to the Danish border. If they just jumped off that boat to hunt for us, we might as well pack it in. They could simply pull us underwater, and no one would ever know. They're going to find us. I look at the sky and try to breathe evenly. A few stars give off a hazy glow through the clouds. I can't hear the boat anymore, and everything around us is quiet. But that doesn't mean a thing. Frogmen swim silently. I can't let myself think that way. We have to start swimming now, but really quietly, I whisper. Andreas turns over in the water, back onto his front. What? Quiet, I say. Why? The boat's long gone. Doesn't matter. It's better if we don't make any noise. Okay. Andreas is going along with things, which isn't his style. But he knows that when it comes to the Baltic, I'm better informed. And besides, in the bus earlier today, I told him he needed to listen to me, especially if things got dicey. Grandpa gave me so many details. I don't want to share them all with Andreas. He would just get scared, and we can't have that. Things are bad enough as it is. We continue swimming, carefully and quietly. Then a dark shadow appears on my left. What is that? Now the shadow's on the right. Frogmen. They're beside us in the water, surrounding us, closing in on us. Everywhere, the shadows are everywhere. How can Andreas not notice? We've got to get away from them. I plunge my arms into the water, swim faster, can barely breathe, haul on the string. Andreas is way too slow. The string cuts into my wrist. I want to go. But the string holds me back too much. It's impossible. I stop swimming and try to catch my breath through the snorkel, which is full of water. It makes a rattling, gurgling sound in the silence. What's wrong? Andreas asks. He's close behind me. Why are you swimming like a psycho? The shadows are gone. Water rushes in my ears, but otherwise things are quiet. There's no one here. We're alone. I take the snorkel out of my mouth, and my gums ache. All in my imagination. Which I won't admit. Andreas knows my dad is crazy. I don't want him thinking it rubbed off on me. You know I'm not as fast as you are, Andreas snaps at me. I'm sorry, it wasn't on purpose. And we swim on. I pay attention to my pace, to my breathing. Sometimes I see a shadow, an illusion drawn by my fear, like in the Erlkönig. The kid in that poem isn't in danger at all. He dies because he's afraid. Something grazes my arm. I recoil and stop moving. In front of me is Andreas. Look, the coast. I turn in the water and look back. Spotlights still sweep over the Baltic. The beams can't reach us now. We're too far out. They're no longer a threat. On the contrary, the lights can help us orient ourselves. As long as they're behind us, we know we're swimming in the right direction. We're hardly in the clear, though. They're looking for us, that much is certain. Think we've reached the 3-mile limit yet? I don't know, I murmur. How could I? It's my first time out here. I got water in my ear, which is uncomfortable and actually really bad because it can throw off your sense of balance. Grandpa told me that the 3-mile limit isn't marked and that you can only tell you've passed it by the increase in shipping traffic. I'm thirsty, but it's way too soon for that. We don't have much water with us. We might have, Andreas continues. We've been swimming for a while now. I should boost him up. We definitely would have gone that distance by now in the pool. I can easily swim about 6 kilometers in a couple of hours, Andreas says. So there's a chance we're already out that far. We should probably turn west then, huh? Funny, the word turn. As if we were driving down Lange Strasse in a Trabi. Better not quite yet. We need to be positive we're outside the border zone. Otherwise, we might get caught in a current and wind up back on shore. I drift along for a moment and look at the sky. Grandpa told me that international waters aren't actually safer. There's more activity there, more ships going by. That's good. Sooner or later, someone will see us. Just depends who. If we're unlucky, it'll be Eastern European ships. They'll report our location to authorities, who will then send out boats to catch us, even if we are beyond the 3-mile limit. Grandpa says it's all happened before. They even captured someone just a few hundred meters shy of the Danish coast and brought him back to the GDR. Do you feel kind of queasy out here too? Andreas asks. It's so weird to hear Andreas but not see him. No. Lucky. I never knew I got seasick. Never happened to me in the wave pool. I hope I don't puke. And the swell's not even that heavy. Over there's Warnemünde, Andreas says. I look back toward where I figure Hotel Neptune should be. I can't make it out, but I can picture it. I've seen it often enough. Remember at the Intershop that time? That West German lady Saxony Yenzi was so into? What a stud, Andreas says, laughing. He can't tell that story to anyone in the West. It's way too embarrassing. Andreas starts swimming, and the string between us tightens. Guys, you smell that? Saxony Yenzi stretched the word that out long with his thick Saxon accent. He raced around the Intershop, his hair disheveled. It smells so different than in our stores, more like flowers and less like Wofazep disinfectant. The heating is better too. He stopped and stared at the matchbox cars inside the display case with his mouth open. The glass immediately fogged up. Besides us, the only other person in the Intershop was a woman with blonde hair. She had a deep tan and wore stylish white slacks and a gold wristwatch. Andreas looked up at the records. Paul Young, Nena, Michael Jackson, and David Bowie were on display. I want Let's Dance so bad. Saxony Yenzi touched everything he could get his grubby hands on. Man, it smells good in here. The store clerk's heavily made-up eyelids twitched. She smoothed down her pink cardigan in agitation. What would you buy if you had 10 West German marks? Andreas furrowed his pimply brow. That won't get you a record. But you could get Nutella, and licorice wheels, and ice cream treats, Saxony Yenzi exclaimed. Mars and Raider bars, I said. Gummy bears. Duplo bars. The woman in the fancy clothes was next in line. She's from the West, Andreas whispered in my ear. She bought a bottle of Jack Daniels and lots of candy. For a bottle of Jack Daniels, you could get 25 bags of licorice wheels, 60 packs of Duplo, 40 Mars bars, or 15 jars of Nutella, Saxony Yenzi hissed. All of a sudden, he was good at math. The sales clerk didn't let us out of her sight. Her bright pink lips pursed. And what will you be buying? We're just looking, Andreas replied. She's so high and mighty just because she gets to work at an Intershop and doesn't have to go to the fish combinat every morning, I whispered. Like your mom. Saxony Yenzi bounced lightly in his sneakers and stared at the bacon in the meat case. Spit collected in the corners of his mouth and then sprayed across the glass as he continued. Have you guys heard the one about the policeman who jumped over the counter at an Intershop and applied for political asylum? Ha! Ha! What an idiot! Andreas exploded. The West German woman smiled nicely. How about this one? A guy walks into a store. Do you have any underwear, he says. The shopkeeper says, nope, next door sells no underwear. We just sell no sheets. The sales clerk cleared her throat. The West German woman was still smiling nicely. A guy comes home. He bursts into the apartment, finds his old lady in bed with another man, and screams, Here you two are screwing around while down at the store they just got a shipment of oranges. That's enough. Go tell your jokes somewhere else, the sales clerk yelled angrily at us. The West German woman grinned and took her bags. On the way out, she gave us a wink. Saxony Yenzi almost fainted and latched onto me. She should take me with her, in her BMW, he whimpered. Get out. You've done enough looking. Beat it. Why can't we look? Andreas asked. Because there's nothing you can buy. How would you know? She pointed at the door. Out. I'll be back tomorrow with my 20 forum checks, then you'll see. Saxony Yenzi stuck out his tongue at her. We bolted. I buttoned up my quilted jacket on the red carpet outside the store. It was cold and dark. Think that fancy lady could tell we're from the GDR? You are such an idiot, dude. Listen to yourself speak. Man, just look at you. Andreas pointed at Saxony Yenzi's Germina sneakers and baggy boxer jeans. And then there's that heinous brown bear fur. Saxony Yenzi looked at us pathetically. My relatives in Hanover haven't been that active sending packages lately. You guys are obviously having better luck with your West German family. I was wearing my blue and white Pumas, and Andreas was in his Levi's, which by now were high waters. His mother kept sewing material to the bottom hem so they wouldn't look stupid. We walked toward the lighthouse. James Bond is on West German TV tonight. Saxony Yenzi hopped up and down because he was so cold. Have you guys heard this one? What does the TV network ARD actually stand for? Access restricted in Dresden. No one laughed. That joke was ancient. Hey there. Hey, wait a second. We turned around. It was the West German woman. She was racing after us like a maniac. She abruptly stopped and stared at us. Her blonde hair blew in the wind. "What, are you fleeing from the KGB or something?" Andreas asked. She looked around fearfully. Then she reached out her arm. "This is for you." I took the bag. Beyond the Blue Border by Dorit Linke. Translated by me, Elisabeth Lauffer. Thanks so much.